NSA and a security consultant for other unnamed government agencies. He's written for some of the biggest publications in the country. And a lot of times when I'm watching NSA or CIA hearings in Congress, I'll see Wayne Madsen there in the audience reporting. Wayne Madsen is a former U.S. naval officer who was assigned to the National Security Agency. He's also some 20 years experience in computer security and data privacy. He's also worked for the Naval Data Automation Command, Department of State, RCA Corporation, and Computer Science Corporation. And he wrote the bestseller Handbook for Personal Data Protection. And he writes, again, for the Progressive, CAQ, Counterpunch, Intelligence Newsletter, and a lot of other major publications. Wayne, how did you know about the flu, and what's your latest intel?
Well, you know, this whole thing with this so-called swine flu, which is really a hybrid flu. The Centers for Disease Control even calls it a novel flu. Even they're saying this is new because of the appellation they've given this particular virus. I first heard about this from a researcher who's a virologist who's looking at this in a laboratory. And this researcher, what a compelling story. I'd love to identify this person, but it would, you know, take the person's identity away. And right now, this individual is conducting the research, and everything this person has told me has come to pass. I heard in late April, early May, the prediction of this researcher was this thing was going to multiply around the world, and in a couple months, every country on the planet would have infections, and that has turned out to be true.
Yeah, we're now level 6, and then you went further that this researcher told you they were planning a big hyped fear pandemic, or maybe even a mutated real one in the fall. You said this 3 months ago when it first, and now they're saying that on the news. Forced inoculations. This is getting scary, Wayne.
Well, right. The other prediction of the researcher was that it would begin to mutate, and any vaccine that would be created to handle the new mutated, the present virus right now, the A H1N1, if it mutates, that vaccine would not work against that particular form of the flu. Now we know from Brazil and Germany that this flu is now mutating, so that prediction has come true. And now we know that it came out in the news today that this mutated version of the flu is now the vaccine won't help. It's resistant to the vaccine. So all this has come to pass, and I just believe that this individual who's working very closely with the person who created this virus in the laboratory was right on the money. And the fact is, it was man-made. It was a Jurassic Park type thing. Some scientists backed by the U.S. Army, Fort Detrick, and the National Institutes of Health dug up the corpse of a very obese Eskimo woman who died of this in the 1918 pandemic, found some tissue they could use, took it back to the Armed Forces Pathology Institute in Rockville, Maryland, which is just down the highway from Fort Detrick, and recreated this and then began to gene splice it. And that's what we have today with the A H1N1, what they call swine flu. I call it hybrid flu. CDC calls it novel flu. But it is a flu that was created in a petri dish. And the question is why? And as I suggested today, I think the FBI should start investigating this. They should seize the records, start interviewing these people. And there's also a lab in Canada involved in Winnipeg, the National Microbiology Lab, and the RCMP should do the same thing there. But so far, we see nothing.
Absolutely. This is scary because they're hyping it. The media is saying it's going to get bad in the fall when it's only killed less than 30, 40 people, depending on what numbers you look at. And then you got all these scientists saying, yeah, it's been manipulated genetically from a lab somewhere, but then there's no big debate about the mystery of where it came from. Instead of it's a mystery about, you know, did Michael Jackson commit suicide? I mean, you know, I don't care about Michael Jackson. I care about my kids dying of some weaponized flu, and I care about forced inoculations for a flu vaccine. They admit it's already mutated. It won't even help you. I mean, I'm worried about the imploding economy. I'm worried about Northcom, the police state, and instead it's all about Michael Jackson while all of this is happening. What are your inside sources, if any, saying, I mean, can you tell us then if this person, this source, is the scientist you talked to, it says they know who produced it? Do they know why it was produced? Do they know if this was done in research and somebody took it from them? Anything else, Wayne?
Just I've gotten from the researcher is that one thing that these researchers do is they try to eliminate every other possibility. The one thing that has been eliminated is this did not come from any animal. So this is you can lay that one to rest. The pigs are getting a bad rap on this. Remember when it first started in Mexico, they tried to blame it on some a pig farm down there that was run by Smithfield, and that's not true. It didn't come from there. The media tried to hype that.
And that's now admitted, by the way. You said that day one. That's now admitted.
Right. And this researcher is now stating that the feeling is that it was engineered to sell vaccines, and that's the there's the profit motive. The individual who created this actually has a financial interest in a company that manufactures a laboratory that manufactures the vaccine, or is trying to find the vaccine to manufacture for this particular strain and maybe future mutated strains. So it looks like this is a situation where there was a criminal intent here all along, and I'm surprised that the FBI, the RCMP, and other law enforcement agencies aren't looking at that, because now it was reported that over 1 million people are infected in the United States, and some 34,000 in New York City alone.
Yeah, that's USA Today and Reuters. Now, again, it's perfect. It's novel, so normal virologists look at it and get scared, but it's not that bad acting. So it's perfect to spread, create fear, but not actually kill a lot of people. Is that what they're planning, just to sell vaccines? Or is it cold-bloodedly designed, because I know they have these that mutate, to then become airborne, more airborne, and kill more people?
Well, I think all possibilities are on the table as far as this is concerned. It's just the amazing thing is how the media, hyped it when it was in Mexico, and what we had, about 70 people infected there. Now we have over 1 million in this country, and only 1,000 in Europe being reported. So it's clear that the United States is ground zero for this. We just had the first reported case in Nepal today. A family came back from the United States. If you look at all these countries that are experiencing infections, 9 times out of 10, the people have just traveled from the United States.
That's right. They're now saying the epicenter is either China or the United States, but you're saying China. That's a red herring. That would make sense because we're more healthy here, and so we're not dying of it. But Mexico is the perfect incubator, Mexico City, because they're so run down.
Well, and there's another interesting factor here, too. Back in early May, there was an individual who was traveling from the National Microbiology Lab in Winnipeg to take up a new job at the National Institutes of Health here in Bethesda, Maryland. This individual was a native of the Ivory Coast in Africa, caught at the border, the North Dakota-Manitoba border, bringing in vials with Ebola virus